Solvent Weld fittings. There's loads of things you can get wrong doing Solvent Weld fittings, and if you're new to the world of plumbing, or even if you've been here for a few years like I have, believe me, these wrinkles are earned in lofts throughout the land. You might want to know some of these little tips that I have for you that you could get wrong in the world of Solvent Weld fittings. Let's get on and have a look at them, and remember to hold tight and hit the subscribe button. If you don't, click away, watch something else. Thank you. So number one, you've got your piece of pipe, you've cut it to length, okay, and you've got a T-piece that you want to put on it, all right? The T-piece has to be put round this particular way. Now, sometimes what you do is you lift this piece of pipe out and you take this off, and then you put your glue on there, your Solvent Weld glue, bit of glue in there as well. Glue's cheap, leaks are expensive. And then once you've done that, you put this back on and you put it back in, and it's completely the wrong way round. So one of the big mistakes I see people doing, especially on really complex underfloor stuff, when you've got about 3 or 4 different joints to do, is not marking up the joints. Let's get this piece here. This bit has to be horizontal, and this bit has to be sat up in the air, like so. Best thing you can do, once you know exactly where they are, where they go, is get yourself a small pen, put a little mark on here, put a little mark on there, and then the same at this end, put a little mark on here, put a little mark on there. If you're doing lots of 45s because you're going around a soil stack or something underneath the floor and you need to know which mark goes to which, well, just put another mark. So there's one there and there's one there, and then you know. Or you can put a dot and a dot with those 2 marks like that. Whichever way you know to do it, do it. Just make sure that you mark them up. I've been there loads of times where you've got a 45 here, 45 there. You take it all out and you think, oh, I don't know where it's going, you know, how it's going to work. So the best thing to do is to mark these up when they go in, and then you'll know exactly where they go when you put them back together again. So this is Solvent Weld glue. This is proper. Bit of Solvent Weld around there like that. Absolutely reeks, doesn't it, Max? You getting a bit of that, boy? And look, so what you do, I usually just try and get most of that up as I can, like so. Push this in, twist it round, even if you want to go more than once. Finger, lovely, look at that. Swipe that off, and you've got a lovely clean fitting. That will never, ever leak, and it's in the right position. So, next tip, when you cut with a hacksaw, so we cut our pipe. Number one, don't use a hacksaw. Try not to. They're not the best things ever to do this sort of work. But the next thing is, if you have had to use one, make sure that all of this detritus comes off before you try and push it onto your Solvent Weld fitting, all right? There's loads of stuff in there that's going to stop us from getting probably a good seal. It's going to, and I can feel the burrs on the bottom there as the blades come through down like that, but also it's going to get in the way of in here. It can disrupt the flow of water around there, and some of the stuff that we're putting in here, you know, if there's a little bit of gunk in there, there's going to be more gunk, and the gunk tells their friends, and those gunk friends tell their gunk friends, and you end up with loads of gunk inside the pipe. Get rid of the burrs is what I'm saying. The way to do that is with a nice rounded file. Found it straight away. I mean, that is ridiculous. I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. So you've got a rounded file like that, as you can see on the end on, it's nice and rounded there. You can get that inside the pipe. Look, it doesn't take long. Just to put that round there, just get it in there. It doesn't take 5 minutes. And then maybe a little bit on the bottom. Get rid of those burrs there like that. Just try and file that off nice. And look at that, you're all ready to go. Just don't use a hacksaw. I'll show you in a minute the difference, all right? So look, let's bring this up here. This is the next thing that I see people not doing. They get their glue, they put it on here. It's quite a lot of glue, guys, because we're just going for it today, aren't we, Max? They get their fitting and they push it on like that, and then they just let go. Now, sometimes what will happen is the fitting will actually come back, but also the next thing they should do that they don't do is they don't twist it. Always get it on and twist it into the position. So if this needs to be going that way, you put it on with the T in the up position, and then you twist it into the position that it needs to be in. Then after that, as I've shown you a minute ago, don't get your finger and do it. It's just because I haven't got my blue roll in here. I would get a blue roll on this and just wipe off all the excess solvent weld that's on there. By the way, look at these beautiful, lovely boots. My work boots, these are. 10% off in the links below. Honestly, I bowled 4 overs of leg spin in them a couple of weeks ago. I think I might have said this in a video already, and it was pretty good leg spin as well. Got a couple of wickets, I think. It was in the net, so you have to kind of imagine it. Next tip. So then the next one, and I just want to use the vise for this because I want you guys to understand how to do it, because you're probably only going to have the one tool to get this sorted out and correct. That's the spirit level, okay? You've got your pipe on there like that. I would say that's probably not quite an adequate full for me to be able to get this completely sorted, all right? So we're running down that way to a stack. I don't think that's an adequate full. I would like to see slightly more of a full, maybe even just touching the edge like that, because these pipes are smaller. If you're using 4-inch or 110 mil, you can have a fall of 1 in 40. So for every 40 centimeters that we go along, we can go down 1 centimeter. But when you're using stuff like this, that's 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches, they tend to need a little bit more of a fall. I'd like to go for like 1 in 30 or 1 in 20. A really, really good way of measuring it out. You have one of these. That was my welding helmet. You have also always wear a welding helmet when doing solvent weld. Right, I'll show you how to do it, how to calculate the falls right, just using a spirit level and one of these. Now, say we want to get it along here, we get our spirit level and we make sure that it's level for a start. There's 0, there's 30, yeah. Then measure down off that 1 centimeter. Then if you want, you can use a spirit level or whatever to get your full. And there's your full there now, okay? And that should be roughly the same all the way to the stack. And at that point there, you can then say, right, I want a bracket. I want the center of that bracket to be there. I want the center of my next bracket to be there, and so on, all the way down back to the stack. And then you just pop your brackets in, and then you can do your pipe work to that according to the things that I've already told you. Using pencil marks to make sure that all the joints are in the right place, using a nice push in and twist to make sure that you get really, really good solvent weld glue on the pipe and also the fitting, and also making sure that you use nice cutters like these ones here, or the Ox Polyzip Flexes that I've got here. Don't use a hacksaw, it's really, really annoying. The final thing is to make sure that the pipe that you are gluing is pipe that is for solvent weld. There are different types of pipe, different types of plastic out there, and you will sometimes have to use a certain type of glue to be able to go on that to make them work, okay? But I think they're pretty much getting rid of most of that in the UK now, so you shouldn't have much more trouble with that anymore. But it's good to make sure it says ABS on it, all right? ABS, something I'm working on at the moment. So if you like this video here today, then come and look at this one here. This one's all about the problems that you can get with compression fittings. It's very, very helpful. I hope this one's helped you out today, guys. If you're going out into the world of plumbing or you're doing a little bit of DIY, you've got some extra knowledge so you can do this job with success. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the subscribe and I'll see you later. Hold tight.